What is going on, everybody? It's the France, and we're here for Stomping Grounds predictions. And you can just tell, if you can tell the enthusiasm in my voice, this is not a good show. Just on paper, this is not a good show. This is Rematch Mania, whether it's from Money in the Bank, or Super Showdown, or 2 years ago at like Extreme Rules. But most, if not all, of these matches are terrible. We have Bayley versus Alexa Bliss, Roman versus Drew McIntyre, Lacey Evans versus Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin, Kofi versus Dolph Ziggler, Joe versus Ricochet, New Day versus Xavier Woods, and Big E versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Tony Nese versus Akira Tozawa versus Drew Gulak, and Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery. Those are your matches for this show. And this has been a hectic time for us as wrestling fans. I know AEW is coming around. Since WrestleMania, this is what we've got going on. We had Money in the Bank on the 25th, or not the 25th, the 19th of last month. We had Double or Nothing 6 days later. We then had Super Showdown, was it? No. It was NXT TakeOver 25, the week after that. We had Super Showdown 2 weeks ago. And then we didn't have anything last week, but now we have Stomping Grounds this week. We have Fyter Fest next week, and then if you really want to get freaky about stuff, the G1 Climax starts next on the 6th, so in a couple days after, like a week after Fyter Fest. So this is a hectic time for us as wrestling fans, and I just want to get things smoothed back out because holy shit. And then of course 2 weeks after Fyter Fest is Fight for the Fallen, which I think is going to probably most likely be a weaker show for AEW because they won't have as much time to build in between shows. They've been building towards Fyter Fest a little bit more, it seems like, in between Double or Nothing than they had Fight for the Fallen. And then of course we have August, which is going to be crazy with TakeOver Toronto, SummerSlam, Royal Quest, the G1 Climax Finals if you want to watch that, NXT TakeOver Cardiff, and All Out. So the next 3 months for wrestling fans is going to be some hectic stuff. But we have what is, I think, the most lackluster show in a while. Now, Backlash, well, was it Backlash? It was last year for Backlash. That was a piss poor show, but it wasn't as lackluster as this, but it was still lackluster. But we got a great Seth Rollins versus The Miz for the Intercontinental title out of that show. Yes, the rest of the show was trash. That show could have been better than it was. It just seems like outside of Seth Rollins and The Miz, nobody seemed to care or wanted to be there. And of course, you thought Ground to Ground 2017, which was a god-awful show. But other than Samoa Joe and Ricochet this coming Sunday, I don't really care about this show. You got Becky versus Lacey again, which makes no sense. Bayley versus Alexa Bliss, which if you remember what they did in 2017, that killed Bayley's career for the next 2 years, and she's just now getting back up to where she actually seems like she matters to everybody. So this show just reeks of not caring. This WrestleVotes, of course, put out on Twitter the other day that this show is feeling like an in-your-house type show where nobody cares. And it's just lackluster. It feels like 95, 96 era, which of course everyone knows 1995 was the worst booked and worst creatively and worst business WWE or WWF at the time ever did. So for us to get somebody in the inside saying it feels like that time, that's not a good thing. And this show just, I really don't want to be here to do this, but I like to do these things just to give you my predictions, and I would love to hear your predictions in the comment section below. Let me know what you think or who you think is going to win each match going into Stomping Grounds. The first match of the show and we're going to talk about is Daniel Bryan and Rowan, the Eco Warriors, which I'm calling them that, versus Heavy Machinery. This match pretty much has been building since Daniel Bryan and Rowan won the tag team titles when they went against the Usos in a match to see who was going to win the vacant tag team titles. After that match was over, we go to the back and we see Daniel Bryan talking about the leather on these championships, and they run into Heavy Machinery. Small little tease to what we were getting at Stomping Grounds, but it was a start. A month and a half later, and here we go. We have Heavy Machinery versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan for the tag team titles. I don't see the Heavy Machinery winning this title. I feel with what my predictions are going to be later, I feel like we need some heels. We need a heel team to win or a heel something to win. So the two tag team matches we have on this show, I'm going with the tag team champions to win this match. So Daniel Bryan and Rowan, the Eco Warriors, are going to take down Heavy Machinery with an Iron Claw by Rowan to Tucker or Otis, which is going to be something. No, that's going to be no small feat because Tucker and Otis are both huge dudes. So to see the Iron Claw put on one of those guys and actually execute it is going to be a thing of beauty. Next up, we have the other tag team match, The New Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This match, I really don't understand why this match is even happening. I don't understand why this match is happening. This match has, honestly, I guess why they want to do this match, to give the New Day something to do, so when we get to the match at the end of the night, or later in the night, that these two, like the New Day, are not going to be viable to help Kofi Kingston in some way or prevent somebody else from helping, and they're not going to be involved, and even though it's a steel cage match. New Day are winning this match, especially after what happened this past Tuesday, where Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were in for whatever reason, a 2 out of 3 falls match against Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston, and got beat 2 straight. 7 seconds into the match, the first fall. The second fall was like 6 more minutes, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn looked like bums. So I'm going with New Day on this one. The match I'm looking forward to, Samoa Joe versus Ricochet. This match is the only match on this card that I actually want to see. Ricochet, of course, won a Fatal 5-Way elimination match over Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, Cesaro, and The Miz to see who was going to face Samoa Joe after Samoa Joe was gifted back the championship by Rey Mysterio after Rey Mysterio did not rightfully earn this U.S. championship back at Money in the Bank. This one I'm really torn on because Samoa Joe just got the championship back. And it would make no sense for him to lose to Ricochet, but Ricochet would be a big moment to see this guy who got the pinfall, who was given the pinfall on Braun Strowman in that Fatal 5-Way. They could have had The Miz do it. It would have probably made a little bit more sense for The Miz, who knows. But they gave it to Ricochet, even though he had help from Bobby Lashley and Cesaro. Still, Ricochet had that big moment. I'm going to say that Ricochet wins by disqualification. Ricochet is not going to win the U.S. Championship, but he's going to win this match because they're going to continue this going into the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Samoa Joe is going to win, and he's going to snap or get frustrated the fact that Ricochet will not stay down, and it's going to cost him the match via disqualification one way or another. And the thing about it is, I want this to go this way because these two didn't really get a proper build at all for this match. This match is going into this show with no heat whatsoever, other than a little confrontation after the Fatal 5-Way last week. Having Ricochet win by disqualification gives them a reason to have some kind of stipulation match at Extreme Rules, and gives these two a chance to build a feud going into this. Samoa Joe and Ricochet can both talk on the mic, and we can see where these guys want to go going into Extreme Rules. So I could definitely see that happening. So, going into the next match, we have the Triple Threat Cruiserweight Championship. Tony Nese versus Akira Tozawa versus Drew Gulak. This match was put on here because last week, I don't watch 205 Live, but I do keep up with it as much as I can. There was a number one contenders match last week that ended in a double finish. I think it was a Fatal 4-Way. It ended in a double finish, and Akira Tozawa and Drew Gulak hands were both raised. So this is one of those matches that I see Tony Nese retaining. I see two things here. Tony Nese is either going to retain, or Drew Gulak is going to be your new Cruiserweight champion. For the simple fact is, Drew Gulak is absolutely awesome. His 2 matches with Kushida, his match with Matt Riddle, are two of the best matches I've seen in NXT in the last 12 months. I would like to see this guy win the Cruiserweight Championship, and maybe on a episode of NXT, because he's Cruiserweight Champion, he'll come back down, him and Kushida will battle for it, and maybe that's how he gets his win on Kushida. But in the end, I think Tony Nese is going to keep this. I think they want to have him hold it till at least SummerSlam. So Tony Nese for the win, beating Akira Tozawa, setting up a singles one-on-one match between Tony Nese and Drew Gulak for Extreme Rules. Moving on quickly here, we have the first of two Women's Championship matches, Lacey Evans versus Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch. I don't know why this match is happening. Unlike Lacey Evans, which she's getting a championship opportunity, at least Alexa Bliss had to earn her championship match. She had to go out there and beat Carmella and Charlotte Flair in a triple threat match to get her championship opportunity. And I asked this back when it was first announced. Who did Lacey Evans sleep with to get this match? I mean, yeah, there's 2 weeks going between Super Showdown and Stomping Grounds, but there's like 4 weeks or so since Money in the Bank. Lacey Evans lost clean. You have Naomi. You have Natalya. You have... Hell, you could have given it to Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross could go for the Raw, and Alexa Bliss could be going for the SmackDown title. That would have been a great story for both of those women, because those two are buddy-buddy. I guess Alexa Bliss says that those two are traveling together now, which always helps the dynamic on TV when you're buddy, but when you're actually friends backstage. But you could have had Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross going for both titles, and I think Nikki Cross versus Becky Lynch would be a far better match than anything they could do with Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans stands no chance. Lacey Evans loses this match by another tap out. I don't see a reason to have Lacey Evans win this match. She's not ready for being the champion. Everybody has said she's not ready. So I'm going with Becky Lynch to retain, especially if the rumors are true. If the rumors are true, and Becky Lynch is the first woman to be on a WWE video game cover, WWE 2K20, there's no fucking way she's losing the championship, especially if she's on there, on that cover, holding the Raw Women's Championship. AJ Styles was the WWE Champion last year, all the way up until after a month after 2K19 came out. He held that championship all the way through the advertising portion of that game. So if Becky Lynch is your cover athlete, she's not losing it tonight, on Sunday. She's not losing it in Extreme Rules, or at SummerSlam, or Clash of the Champions, or whatever the hell they're going to do in October. She'll probably lose it if they were to do that in December, if they don't do SmackDown vs. which they really can't do SmackDown vs. Raw anymore at Survivor Series, because you had a couple SmackDown vs. Raw matches tonight, on Sunday. The other Women's Championship match, Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. I don't know why you couldn't give it. I'm surprised Charlotte Flair didn't get this match. I'm absolutely surprised Charlotte Flair did not get this match. This is a match that we've seen, and we haven't seen in 2 years. We haven't seen since Bayley, this is your life. And, of course, Alexa Bliss, being a Monday Night Raw superstar, is coming to SmackDown Live to face Bayley, and she's not winning the championship. No way whatsoever. She's not winning the championship. She's on Raw. And here's the reason why I say she's not winning the championship, is because they haven't outlined what would happen if she did win the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. They would need to be more clear on that, what she would be doing, what would happen. Would she be officially a SmackDown superstar? Would her friendship with Nikki Cross be broken up? No, nothing of that has been talked about. So I'm going with Bayley on this night. Moving on here to, Snorefest number 2. Snorefest match of the night. We have Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre, a rematch from WrestleMania. Roman Reigns made his triumphant return in what was it? February? No. Was it February? No. Like, March? He made his triumphant return earlier this year. Came to WrestleMania to face Drew McIntyre in one of the most boring matches I have ever seen at WrestleMania. It was nothing special. It wasn't even really good. And I don't blame Drew McIntyre. I blame Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has a style of wrestling that it will put you to sleep. It's not slow, methodical in a good way. It's slow. You gotta have rest holds in there. Samoa Joe, last year at Backlash, in the main event, took on Roman Reigns in one of the most boring matches, one of the most rest hold matches ever. Watch this match have at least 4 or 5 rest holds because Roman Reigns can't keep up with a guy like Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre deserves better than this match. Drew McIntyre, and what I think is going to happen here is that Shane is going to get involved. I'm hoping this is the route they go. Shane's going to get involved, screw Roman over again. Roman comes back out on the next night, or Tuesday after, whichever, wild card or whatever, and says, you know what, you guys like getting involved in each other's matches. How about at Extreme Rules, I take you both on. You get a 2-on-1 handicap match, and that's where Roman will end this entire Shane McMahon show, and we can move on to something else. But I'm probably the only one who's going to do this, but I'm picking Drew McIntyre with the help of Shane McMahon to take out Roman Reigns. That is 7 of 8, 9 matches, so we are going to move on to the WWE Championship in a steel cage match. And it's kind of ironic because, as I said on Wednesday, this match is going to happen, and then 3 nights later, we're going to have another steel cage match that was taped last week on Wednesday. We're going to have Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler, and then we're going to have Io Shirai versus Shayna Baszler in a steel cage match. So, it's kind of funny how this match and that match are only going to be a few days apart, and I guarantee you people are going to say, I bet you, which I know these guys can put on a good match, I bet you this match will not even come close to what we see on Wednesday. Anyway, the only reason Dolph Ziggler is here is because of what happened with Daniel Bryan. What happened with the reason, and Kevin Owens not wanting to go to Saudi Arabia for whatever reason. So they really had nobody else. What I'm hoping is that Kofi he wins, and then out of nowhere, he comes down, the bell rings, ding, 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 you're winner, and still WWE and RKO out of nowhere. And there's your next challenger. Because it's Randy Orton, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. I'm calling Kofi Kingston to win this match, and as he's celebrating when outside the ring, because the cage will still be down, he's going to drop out of the ring, or walk out the stairs, which hardly ever happens anymore. And as soon as the bell rings, they're going to start announcing him being the winner, and out of nowhere comes Randy Orton with an RKO. He holds the WWE Championship and drops it back on Kofi Kingston, and there's your challenger for Extreme Rules. And the whole storyline being is Randy Orton doesn't feel Kofi Kingston is worthy to be WWE Champion, so I'm going to do everything I can to take the championship from you. So Dolph Ziggler, no chance to win this match. And that is why I think Dolph Ziggler is going to lose to Kofi Kingston, and we are going to have Randy Orton be the next challenger. That's what I would do. It gets us through Extreme Rules, and then Randy Orton can go on his vacations again, and we could have Kofi Kingston versus whoever going into SummerSlam. And that leaves the main event. The potential main event. Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin to Electric Boogaloo. Corbin picks the referee, and the fifth time in a month, WWE has bait and switched the fans. Coming out of Money in the Bank, you had Brock Lesnar 4 fucking times say, I'm gonna cash in, or Paul Heyman say he's gonna cash in on this date. And it never fucking happened any of those 4 times. Then we come to this past Monday, and they swore up and down we were going to know as soon as Raw was going off the air who was going to be the special guest referee. First it was Elias, then it was EC3, Eric Young was in consideration. We go to SmackDown, and the B team want to be a part of it. Shelton Benjamin, Matt Hardy, those 2 didn't get buried, surprisingly. But we still don't know who is the special guest referee. And people were speculating it to be Brock Lesnar. Why the fuck would Brock Lesnar want to do that? And if Brock, and here's the thing, if Brock Lesnar was to do that and he was a special guest referee, why the hell would he want Baron Corbin to take the championship from Seth Rollins? No way, shape, or form Brock Lesnar would allow Baron Corbin to win that match. It makes no fucking sense. Brock Lesnar wants to be the one to take the title off of Seth Rollins. Yeah, he would call this match down the middle for a minute. Looks like Baron Corbin hit the end of days. Looks like he's going to win the match. F5. He puts Seth Rollins on him. 1, 2, 3. Seth would continue to be Universal Champion. And then he would cash in and win the Universal Championship. It makes no sense for him to do that. It makes absolutely zero sense to have Brock Lesnar as the special guest referee. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Vince McMahon himself. I would not be surprised if Vince comes out, if we hear, no chance, and Vince McMahon is your special guest referee. I don't know who the special guest referee is. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Brock Lesnar, but again, I don't expect it to be Brock Lesnar. If it's Brock Lesnar, then we're going to have a title change, but it's not going to be to Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin's not winning the Universal Championship. As you know, Brock Lesnar has been teasing cashing in on Seth Rollins over and over and over again. Why would he help somebody else do what he wants to do? He wants to take the Universal Championship back from the guy who stole it from him. Yes, Seth Rollins won at WrestleMania, but literally he stole it, which I'm not going to complain about, but that's what it is. Seth wins, no doubt about it, but if it's Brock Lesnar is going to be the Universal Champion going out of Stomping Grounds, and then I don't know who the fuck they're going to have him drop it to. No idea at all. So Seth Rollins is going to win. Open praying it's not Brock Lesnar, because first off, I'll be sitting there like, Baron Corbin, you are a fucking idiot. Do you really, really think Brock Lesnar wants you to win the Universal Championship? If anybody's going to beat Seth Rollins for the title in Brock Lesnar's eyes, it's going to be Brock Lesnar. But those are my predictions. Bayley over Alexa Bliss, Drew over Roman with the help of Shane, Becky over Lacey Evans, Seth Rollins over Baron Corbin, Kofi over Dolph, Ricochet by DQ, The New Day over Xavier Woods and Kevin Owens, Tony Nese over Kyo Tozawa and Drew Gulak, and Daniel Bryan and Rowan over Heavy Machinery. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video, find me on Twitter at The France Club, find me on Twitch at The France Club, and I will see you guys tomorrow for Unscripted as we get ourselves closer and closer to Stomping Grounds, and then of course Fyter Fest next week. This will be interesting. Little side note here, next week's episode, not this week's, but next week's episode will be on a Sunday. Not this week's. This week's Unscripted will be on Saturday. Sunday will be Unscripted for next week. For the simple fact is Fyter Fest, and I want to have a little bit of recap of Fyter Fest on Unscripted if anything big and newsworthy comes out of it. And I want to be able to have, if any big news comes out, maybe somebody makes a debut and I want to have any backstage news, I want to have that in Unscripted, and we will have that on Sunday. Not at noon, Sunday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But I will see you guys tomorrow for Unscripted. Until then, you guys have a good one.